Welcome to our channel. Today we're diving into the dark and twisted world of the top 10 most brutal serial killers. Viewer discretion is advised. From charming sociopaths to gruesome cannibals, each of these killers has left an indelible mark on history. They are infamous not just for the number of their victims, but for the sheer brutality of their acts. In today's video, we'll unravel the twisted tales of 10 of the most notorious serial killers in history. So, if you're ready to explore the darker side of humanity, let's get started. Ted Bundy is often remembered for his charming exterior and chilling crimes. Bundy, a law student, used his good looks and persuasive skills to lure his victims. He often pretended to be injured, asking for help, only to abduct and murder. His method was both cunning and terrifying, involving brutal assaults followed by murder. Bundy's crimes spanned several states in the 1970s, leaving a trail of fear. He confessed to killing 30 women, though the actual number is suspected to be higher. Bundy's trials were media spectacles, where he acted as his own attorney. Despite his acts, Bundy had a disturbing ability to charm people, even in court. His execution in 1989 was a relief for many, but his legacy lives on. Jeffrey Dahmer, known as the Milwaukee Cannibal, committed some of the most gruesome acts in criminal history. Dahmer's crimes were not just about murder. They involved necrophilia, cannibalism, and the preservation of body parts. His macabre actions were driven by a desire to control and possess his victims completely. Dahmer's killing spree began in 1978 and continued until his arrest in 1991. He targeted young men, often luring them with promises of money or companionship. Once in his apartment, Dahmer would drug his victims before murdering them. The details of his crimes are chilling. He kept skulls, skeletons, and even attempted to create zombies by drilling holes in his victims' heads and injecting acid. Psychologically, Dahmer exhibited extreme isolation and detachment from reality. Dahmer was sentenced to 15 consecutive life terms but was killed by a fellow inmate in 1994. His story remains a haunting example of how unchecked psychological issues can manifest into unimaginable horrors. John Wayne Gacy, often referred to as the Killer Clown, led a double life that shocked the nation. By day, Gacy was a respected community member, even performing as Pogo the Clown at children's parties. By night, he was a sadistic killer who preyed on young boys and men. Gacy's crimes were as horrifying as they were numerous. He would lure his victims to his home, often under the pretense of offering them work or money. Once there, he would sexually assault and torture them before finally murdering them. Gacy buried 26 of his victims in the crawl space beneath his house, while others were disposed of in nearby rivers. The discovery of Gacy's crimes sent shockwaves through the community. Gacy was sentenced to death and executed in 1994. His story serves as a grim reminder that evil can often hide in plain sight. Richard Ramirez, infamously known as the Night Stalker, terrorized Los Angeles in the mid-1980s. His reign of terror was marked by brutal home invasions, assaults, and murders. Ramirez's crimes were terrifying because they seemed random, targeting anyone. He used guns, knives, hammers, and even his bare hands. His attacks often included satanic rituals, leaving pentagrams at the scenes. Ramirez was captured by citizens who recognized him and held him until police arrived. Convicted of 13 murders, he died of natural causes in 2013 while on death row. Ed Gein, also known as the Butcher of Plainfield, committed crimes so macabre that they inspired numerous horror films, including Psycho and the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Gein's crimes came to light in 1957, when police discovered the body of a local woman in his farmhouse. What they found inside was beyond comprehension: human skulls used as bowls, furniture upholstered in human skin, and a suit made from the skin of his victims. Gein had exhumed bodies from local graveyards, using the remains for his grotesque crafts. Psychologists believe Gein's actions were an attempt to create a woman's suit so he could become his mother, whom he idolized. Gein was found unfit for trial and spent the rest of his life in a mental institution where he died in 1984. His legacy lives on in the annals of horror, both in real life and on the silver screen. Andrei Chikatilo, known as the Rostov Ripper, was one of the most prolific serial killers in Soviet history. His crimes were marked by extreme brutality, targeting women and children over a span of 12 years. Chikatilo's methods were vicious, involving stabbing, mutilation, and even cannibalism. Chikatilo's killing spree began in the late 1970s, and he managed to evade capture for years due to a combination of police incompetence and sheer luck. His victims were often lured with promises of food or money, only to be brutally attacked and left in secluded areas. His eventual capture in 1990 was a result of an extensive manhunt and a dedicated task force. He was convicted of 52 murders and executed in 1994. Chikatilo's story is a grim reminder of the depths of human cruelty and the importance of vigilance in preventing such atrocities. Albert Fish, often referred to as the Brooklyn Vampire, committed crimes that were not only brutal, but also deeply disturbing. Fish's acts of murder, cannibalism and sadomasochism were driven by a demented mind that found pleasure in pain and suffering. His letters to the families of his victims revealed a level of depravity that is hard to comprehend. Fish's crimes spanned the early 20th century, targeting young children whom he would abduct, torture and cannibalize. His capture came after he sent a letter to the family of one of his victims, detailing the horrific acts he had committed. Fish was found sane and sentenced to death, being executed in the electric chair in 1936. Albert Fish's story is a haunting reminder of the depths of human depravity. Aileen Wuornos, often referred to as the Highway Killer, is one of the few female serial killers whose story has captivated the public. Wuornos's crimes were driven by a combination of trauma, survival instincts, and a deep-seated mistrust of men. Her life and crimes have been the subject of numerous documentaries and the film Monster. Wuornos's killing spree took place between 1989 and 1990, targeting men who picked her up while she was working as a prostitute. She claimed that her actions were in self-defense, as her victims had either assaulted or attempted to assault her. However, the brutality of her crimes told a different story. Wuornos was convicted of 6 murders and sentenced to death, being executed in 2002. Aileen Wuornos' story is a complex one, involving themes of survival, revenge, and mental illness. Jack the Ripper is perhaps the most infamous serial killer in history, not just for his crimes, but for the enduring mystery surrounding his identity. Operating in the Whitechapel district of London in 1888, the Ripper's brutal murders of at least 5 women shocked the world and have been the subject of endless speculation and investigation. The Ripper's modus operandi involved the gruesome mutilation of his victims, often leaving them disemboweled and with their throats slit. The ferocity and precision of his attacks led many to believe he had some medical knowledge. Despite numerous theories and suspects, the true identity of Jack the Ripper remains unknown. The media frenzy at the time only added to the Ripper's infamy. Sensationalist newspapers published graphic details and alleged letters from the killer himself, further fueling public hysteria. Jack the Ripper's legacy lives on in popular culture, inspiring countless books, films and theories. H.H. Holmes, America's first serial killer, constructed a murder castle in Chicago for his gruesome crimes. Holmes's methods involved elaborate traps and hidden chambers to torture and kill his victims. The murder castle had soundproof rooms, gas chambers and a crematorium. During the 1893 World's Fair, Holmes lured visitors to his hotel, where they met their tragic end. His charming demeanor allowed him to carry out his crimes undetected. Holmes confessed to 27 murders, though the actual number is believed to be higher. Holmes was executed in 1896, leaving a legacy of human evil and the importance of vigilance. Thanks for watching. If you found this video intriguing, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon for more chilling content. We've journeyed through some of the darkest chapters of human history, exploring the twisted minds and brutal acts of 10 of the most infamous serial killers. It's a grim reminder of the evil that can exist in the world and the importance of staying vigilant. Remember, these stories are not just about the killers, but also about their victims and the lasting impact of their crimes. Learning about these cases can help us better understand and prevent such horrors in the future. Until next time, stay safe and keep exploring the unknown.